Today we have with us Commander Ram Gurung. Commander Gurung is an ex-submariner, an ex-NDA, and while he was doing his service in the Navy, he also completed an executive MBA from the prestigious FMS New Delhi. After that, Sir has also Lean Sigma Green Belt from the Institute of Statistical Studies, and then Sir has worked with Grant Thornton as a consultant in the consulting industry. Of late, Commander Ram has professionally started helping veterans in their transition journey from uniform to the corporate world to the civil world uh, for their second careers. And he has taken on to himself a mission of helping 10,000 plus veterans in this particular task. We have invited him today to share his wisdom and his guidance on as to how certifications can be used for improving and increasing your probability of getting worthwhile and well-paying jobs. So welcome to the talk today, Ram sir.
Yeah, thank you, Vipul. At the outset, I'd like to express my sincere gratitude for inviting me for this particular series of talk called as Value Talk. And I'm sure these are definitely being seen as a value by our Fauzi, transitioning veterans who are actually moving from the military environment and seeking out great opportunities in the corporate. Yes, and thank you to all. I think what I see is about 80 plus members who have took out their time to be a part of this important discussion. Thank you. I think together we can make really a great impact. Over to you.
So, sir, I would like to start this with a very basic question. What do you think is actually the significance or usability of certifications when officers are wanting to transition from uniform to the corporate?
Okay, so let's start from the basic. First, let's say what is certification, right? Though everybody must be knowing it. So let's give it some definition, some kind of a definition. So certification is basically anything, an official document जो attest करता है somebody's capability, competency that yes, this particular person has been trained or educated or has a competency to do a particular task. And it is generally given by a third party, credible institution or organization that we know, whether it could be a PMP, CPP, CISSP, you name a thing, and basically that's what we call as a certification. And now coming to what could be the significance of these certification. तो पहला जो चीज है, I think this actually validates the transferable skills that Fauzi's have. Let's say they've got a project management skills. So if they also undertake PMP, then a civilian or a corporate person actually knows, yes, this particular person has got these skills which he already had in the force while managing different projects. But this PMP basically validates कि yes, इसके पास ये skills है. That's the first thing. Second is also it basically gives a way, a standard mechanism to measure somebody's competency. For example, if somebody says that, okay, this particular person has got, let's say, cyber security certification, then जो भी उसको देखता है, at least he knows because he has got this certification, so he knows what network security is, what incident response is, what let's say penetration testing could be, what cloud security means, what active or passive defense means. तो एक competency measure करने का एक जरिया बन जाता है. Now वो होता है ना, जैसे for example you have the ribbons for high altitude people who have served in the high altitude, right? So if somebody looks at that ribbon, he actually knows कि अच्छा इसने इस particular height पे minimum इतने time पे इस temperature पे he has served and he has survived. जहाँ पर less oxygen है, temperature इतने कम है. So basically that ribbon signifies that this particular person has got these skills. He must have got these skills. So similarly, उस parlance में देखें तो certification, if somebody has got one certification PMP, then we know, okay, this particular person has got these skills, right? And it's basically again, a mechanism of positioning, branding, let's say. right? Marketability, to increase your marketability, to basically stand out. Actually, I was reading somewhere, it says globally, internet says that there are about 7 lakh project management professionals active, right? Active members. And in India, it's about 47,000. So you also want, if you have this, you basically also become one of those definite number, right? So
Right.
I think that is basically the significance of having a certifications. Over to you, Vipul.
So, having understood the basic fact that having a certification kind of gives a message to the employer that certain skills or some techniques or technicalities are known to this individual. Now, how can a veteran identify these certifications that complement their either complement or enhance their existing skill set and as a result enhance their employability?
Okay. See, most of the time, what I find generally is people do certification based on what other people are doing, right? Up to some extent, it may be okay, but that should not be the norm of selecting कि मुझे क्या करना चाहिए, कौन सी certification करना चाहिए. I think it should be actually, inside out driven. So when I say inside out driven means first look at your strength areas, look at your core competencies, look at your future targets, your aspiration, that which particular role, which particular industry that you're planning to go, and then only decide, okay, because this is my trajectory, then these are the certification which can actually help me. Like for example, if somebody wants to go into data analytics, then going, let's say, Google Analytics course, or Power BI data analytics, so these kind of actual certification could actually help him or her, rather than doing any other kind of generic certification. So that is the first thing. Second thing is conduct a thorough research about the industry trends, the job requirements. What is it that could be beneficial for me to do to help me reach where I want to reach? What is that the market is demanding? Right? Like for example, certifications for cloud system architect, right? Maybe AWS kind of certification. So if you do that, basically that it shows that yes, you have the competency and capability to design the cloud computing framework, and that is also a growing area. So that might actually give you interest if you want to go in this particular sector, other than doing something which other people are also doing. So two major aspect, your own strength areas, core competencies, and the aspiration. And second is, where is the industry going, the industry trends, the market trends, so that we could actually be on that curve. So I think these are two important aspects which somebody should keep in mind whenever they are selecting for what particular certification that I need to do uh, to make my transition smooth. That is basically everybody's concern. Yeah, Vipul.
सर हैविंग अंडरस्टूड दैट मैं आपसे पूछना चाहूंगा कि अब ट्रांजिशन करते हुए सर्टिफिकेशन इज नॉट द ओनली थिंग आई एम डूइंग आई हैव टू डू लॉट ऑफ अदर थिंग्स resume writing, cover note, or rather to say cover letter writing, and then finding jobs. हो सकता है मैं कोई PRC कोर्स भी कर रहा हूँ या I'm pursuing an MBA also. So how do I balance my certification acquisition along with other transition related tasks or responsibilities?
Yeah, that's a very, very important question. In fact, you know what? Most of the time, it will not be every time, we tend to do certification only towards the end. I mean, I am no exception, right? So only towards the end. End में क्या, as you might mention, PRC भी चल रही है, exit formalities भी चल रही है, maybe family location shift भी चल रही है, बच्चों के school change भी चल रही है. There's so many things going around, your own medicals and all. And in the midst of all this, there's something called certification also, and that is also very, very important, right? So ये सब चीज के बीच में actually how do we plan, and that is very, very important. So the first thing actually that I like to say in this is, first, जैसे हमने ऊपर बोला था कि decide करो कि क्या करना है. That is very, very important, because once you decide what you need to do, then maybe just one or two relevant certification would do. But if you do what others are doing, हमने वो भी कर लिया, then we realize कि boss ये शायद उतना relevant नहीं है, then I need to do something which is, you know, more aligned to my core competencies. So that basically takes up your time. So first thing is be very clear what you want to do, and after that make up a plan for it. Like I'll tell you, when I did PMP, you know, any certification हो यहाँ पर जितने भी PMP की है या CISSP की जो ये बड़े वाले certification है, it definitely demands a lot of time. I mean, I actually prepared 4 hours per day, almost for a month, for my PMP. Why? Because minimum 4 mock tests आपको देने हैं. एक mock test 4 hours का है, you know, 200 questions. तो 4 3 12 hours तो इसी में चले गए. And each mock test, after you give, then you have to analyze each question and see whether why your answer is right or why your answer is wrong. Right? So again 6 to 8 hours for each paper. So मतलब 50-60 hours तो आपकी सिर्फ मॉक में ही चले गए, बट उससे पहले प्रिपेयर भी तो करनी है, right? There's so many chapters, you know, people, I can talk about PMP better because I have done that, right? So many hours and so much of preparation actually goes into this. So it definitely is not easy. So and since it is not easy, not many people do it, and not many people do it. That's why it stands out. I mean, इतना अगर आसान है और सबके पास है, तो फिर वो सर्टिफिकेशन का एक्चुअली मतलब ही क्या है? Yes, definitely it you know, adds to your knowledge, but it doesn't actually make you stand out. So first thing, decide and then prepare a schedule and then stick to it. Second is, जैसे होता है ना, स्टाफ कॉलेज के प्रिपरेशन में हो या एमटेक के प्रिपरेशन में हो, you know, group study, because when you actually interact, discuss the points with people, we tend to learn faster, and that also motivates कि अच्छा इसने ये भी कर लिया, let me also do it. And if somebody may be stronger in one particular chapter, one particular aspect of one particular, let's say PMP, right? So उसमें he can always seek support from the other. So what happens is everybody, you know, move together, तो उससे motivation level या inspiration level जो high रहता है. तो group study किया जाए, right? Because that also helps. And third thing is, you know, in case it helps, you know, there are a lot of online platforms also, which actually, if you put it into your program, that might actually also help. Now, for example, when I was doing PMP, I attended those 35 hours of PDO. You know, those who have done PMP, they can relate. So those 35 contact hours होते हैं जो कि आपको करनी पड़ती है, and that is a prerequisite before even you fill up the application for PMP. Application करने का तो एग्जाम होता है, तो उससे पहले prerequisite है. So that time I remember I was in Delhi and I traveled to Noida on weekends, right, to contact, to finish those you know, 35 hours, 4 weekends. But now you also have so many online platforms which actually give you, they are registered education provider, which also gives you that same 35 hours. So, you know, if you are not able to give time for attending actual contact or offline training session, you could also use this online medium, so that, you know, mix and match will actually help you to utilize your, you know, time, available time better, while you're doing so many other things as well. So I think these few points actually can, you know, help you take up these certification. And since I'm talking about PMP, but I know this will actually equally apply for all other kind of certification as well. Yes, people.
इसका मतलब ये कि जब तक प्रायोरिटाइज नहीं करेंगे और वो अपनी तरफ से ये नहीं डिसाइड करेंगे कौन सा सर्टिफिकेट करना है, तो वन कैन कीप ऑन स्पेंडिंग मनी एंड एनर्जी एंड एफर्ट, और अल्टीमेटली उसमें से यूजफुल एक दो ही सर्टिफिकेट रहेंगे. सर, आप अपने पर्सनल एग्जांपल से वुड यू बी एबल टू टेल एज टू हाउ certifications helped you in your transition journey from Forge to, say, Grand Captain?
Yeah. This is interesting. You know, when I actually thought of doing a certification, मैंने नहीं किया था, right? मैंने MBA किया FMS दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी से, उसके बाद then I went to IIM Ahmedabad for PRC, then I came back, then I started appearing for interview. I wanted to go into consulting, you know, project management, into IT plus technocrat role kind of a thing. So I thought, you know, project management is the thing which I had done in the Navy, and I thought I could do that thing better outside. So in one of the interview, I remember I was asked, so Ram, I think you have done, great projects, and by it looks that you are quite prudent in that. So tell me, how do you used to handle so many stakeholders? How do you manage such a big stakeholders where you have written that there were almost 7 different agencies that were working for this particular project that you are leading? Then I definitely gave an answer, but somehow that answer actually did not impress any of the people, right? Because I felt the answer was quite generic, and they were not satisfied with my answer, so they wanted to poke me, with one more question. So they said, by the way, did you use RASI matrix or something? And I was taken aback. I said, RASI, I mean, what is it? The only Rasi I'd ever heard was, Makar Rasi and those kind of Rasis, but this Rasi matrix really took me back. I said, I'm sorry, sir, actually, I have not used that. And then I thought, boss, it's high time that you may be having the experience, but if you want to articulate in the manner that the other person, the civilian counterpart, can understand the depth and scale of what you have done, and you need to speak his language. So after that interview, in fact, that interview was a trigger point for me to go for PMP. So I came back and then I saw, okay, what is this Rasi matrix? How do I know about it? Then on Google, I saw that, okay, this is something which you use for stakeholder management, which actually says that if you have so many people for a project, then the communication, you don't send same communication to everyone. Everybody's role is different. Somebody is responsible. Somebody is accountable for that particular task or activity. Somebody you need to only consult, and there's someone part which is just needs to be informed. So though it was very, very simple, those things which I already had done, and every one of you who have ever handled a project would have done the same thing, right? But they are looking for these kind of frameworks because they speak in this language, and if you do not speak in this language, then almost there is a gap. So that actually forced me to, rather not forced, yes, that was a trigger point for me to do PMP, and that's how I did it. And the second thing was in the consultancy job that I first took at Grant Thornton. Yes, PMP was a mandatory. So maybe my luck, so that's why actually I got qualified for that, and I went for the client interview at Mumbai. And since, again, talking about this first job, my job as a consultant was basically to design an IT service backbone, okay, for delivering these services. Their main task was to improve the number of franchisee from 25,000 to 75,000 within 3 years, and what kind of IT, whether it is a server or whether it's a cloud, security plus storage plus all process, how are you going to design about it, right? So the certification that I did, maybe Six Sigma, I use certain tools, certain frameworks from there. The ITIL, again, is very, very direct relevance. So I picked up some frameworks, some knowledge that I learned from that certification into the report or into the document that actually I made for my first project, in the corporate. So in all I feel that the certification that I did, which I did after realizing its importance, was truly very, very helpful for me to move out and also excel in the first project that I was given. So it was very, very helpful, truly.
I'm genuinely thankful for today's guidance and mentorship which you have provided. And it is my belief that those who have joined us today, and for those of the ones who will watch this recording, they would be able to find some very relevant and useful piece of advice in terms of their transition journey. Thank you so much, Ram sir.